What's up, everybody? This is Crispy Cody from the Crispy Reviews podcast. I'm coming at you today with some fun content. We are just a few short 2 weeks. Is it 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
We are 2 weeks out from the notorious summer event Bonnaroo in Manchester, Tennessee. Very, very exciting. Very, very cool. I'm not going, though, so sorry about that. But I have two of my best buddies around who are going to the event, and I wanted to bring them on, and we're just going to gab and talk about it. So let's take it away from there. Let's introduce my newcomer friend, Levi. How are you doing, Levi?
I'm doing good. Always good to talk about Bonnaroo.
Yes. And our returning fave, Mikey.
I haven't been on in so long. Hello.
Since maybe like last Bonnaroo or whatever we announced.
Probably.
The lineup, but
Probably,
that's okay.
yeah.
That's fine. I've been very busy myself, entertaining a new kid. So, we haven't really had time to do any like festival talks and stuff. So it feels good to be back and just talk about festivals in general. But the festival event of the summer, Bonnaroo, in its own question, I would say, is probably the best lineup since 5 years ago when they announced the 2020 lineup.
That never happened. Yeah.
The one that never came to be. Yeah. I would say that this one comes toe to toe with that one.
Or maybe even like 2021, maybe.
Yeah.
That was a really good lineup too. But that one got delayed as well because of the hurricane or whatever happened.
Yeah.
Right?
It never happened.
It got flooded.
Day before.
Yeah. So that's a crazy double back-to-back year-to-year mishap that kind of just happened.
Yeah.
So, but here we are. We're back, and it's 2025. 5 years since COVID when that first one was delayed, and I feel like this lineup is the best lineup since then.
I agree.
It's in many different ways of why, which is the things that they've changed. They've changed a couple things, and I really want to go ahead and like talk about some of those changes and stuff. But before we go into those changes, I wanted to ask, what years have you attended and which ones were the favorite years that you've been? Levi, go.
So I had tickets in 2020 and 2021 as we were talking. That didn't happen. I didn't know too much about Bonnaroo until I really just went because I saw one of my all-time favorite bands, Tool, on the lineup, and I was like, oh yeah, Tennessee. And then so I didn't get to go then, didn't go, but they had Tool back in 2022. That was my first year, and that was epic. They had a bunch of people. I loved that lineup. They had Tool, Stevie Nicks, J. Cole. That's where I saw Gizzard the one time.
Yep.
And then me and Mikey went in 2023, 2024, great years.
Dang. So 3-year run. That's really awesome.
Yeah, about to be 4.
Holy cow. Awesome, dude. So you would say the very first Bonnaroo was your favorite?
So far. There's been lineup so far. It was my favorite. I mean, this year has a better lineup, but I haven't seen them.
Yeah.
But I had a better time, I think, in 2023 because I just kind of went by myself in 2022. So it was nice to be with everybody in 2023.
Yeah, so you had like a whole like friend group that you were with at that point, and you went solo. So interestingly, I had a more similar first Bonnaroo too. I went kind of solo. I went in 2018, and that's the only year I've ever been. I've wanted to go back, but because of COVID, that all kind of happened. I was supposed to go then, and then the next year we booked tickets again for 21, and it didn't happen. And then I was like, life stuff kind of started happening in 22. So I was like, I don't have time to go to this now. So I'll circle back to it. But in 2018, I did get to go, and it was kind of like a solo thing. And I only went with like one other person who I knew, and they were a true sport. They picked me up from the airport and everything. Like, it was awesome. I was so glad that they like drove up, and then they picked me up from the airport. We went and we set up the camp and stuff. And then he was just hanging out with his friends, and I was just flying solo just the entire time. Like, I didn't know anybody, but it was just nothing but positive vibes. Like, you just met so many amazing people, and the farm is just busting with just positivity. Like, it's pouring out all over.
Yeah.
You can't find one person having a bad time, I feel like.
You really can't.
No, even if it's raining. Like, it rained on Sunday, and it was getting all muddy and like you know, most people would be like not happy about that, but everybody was like stomping and playing in the mud, having little mud fights and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
that's what it's about. Like, that's the full spirit, you know, lean into it and just embrace what you're given, you know? And that's what I love most about Bonnaroo out of all the music festivals I've really been to. It's just got like this overall tight niche community that supports and loves music to its core. And that's what I find really awesome about.
Oh, and everybody's so cool. Like, I'm glad I went solo the once just to see the first, like, I was walking in, and the first time I was walking into Centeroo, some stranger was like, "Hey, have you been to Bonnaroo before?" And I said, "No, it's my first time." He just looks at me and, like, gives me a hug, and he's like, "Welcome home."
Yeah.
And been pretty much going since.
Yeah. I love the high five Fridays. Like, I was just on the hunt for as many high fives I was wanting. Like, I could just get them. And I was like walking up to random people. I'm like, "Yo, high five." And they're like, "Yeah, high five Friday." And I'm like, "Okay, cool, bro. That's amazing." Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's super just spiritually amazing. Like, you can just go and connect with anybody at any moment and everybody vibes. So and the best part is that the music festival, it's not just one genre. It's not like Shaky Knees. It's not like, was it like Welcome to Rockville, where they're just focused on like one genre, or what's the other one? Summer Smash, or
any EDM music festival.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm blanking on so many different ones, but this isn't just one genre. This is so many different genres all under one giant, or not under, but one giant farm. And I think that's what even makes it that much more special, is like, you have all these different people coming from all these different communities, and yet we still all get along. We still all love each other. We still all want to be there and like support whatever the music is that's going on. And that's what Bonnaroo feels like. It's just one giant like convention center of music lovers, and it's amazing. It's like an epic hub.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you've, you know, joined that Bonnaroo community, Levi, and I'm jealous that you've been able to keep going like year over year. So it's awesome.
I couldn't miss it, especially, and I'll have Mike chime in on this. Great, because like we all live in pretty separate places, so it's cool to see everybody in one place.
Yeah,
all the homies.
Exactly, and like that's why I call it a convention, because you guys are all meeting up yet again. Like, you know, it's just one central location, and you guys are returning, and you're gonna have yet another amazing year, but with different artists and different, you know, things that they're offering at the convention. And not to keep calling it a convention, you know.
No, because it is very similar, because like I'm going to be dressed as an anime schoolgirl for both of them.
Oh, hell yeah.
For a convention or a Bonnaroo, so
I actually have a skirt I'm going to wear this year.
You wore a skirt last year, didn't you? You were
I
in the
did.
Idols.
I wore a tutu, yeah.
Yes.
But this one's actually more schoolgirlish. It's like plaid.
Hell yeah. Are you guys going to be coordinating? Like, you should have like a coordinated day where you're all wearing like schoolgirl.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So, Mikey, you've gone to Bonnaroo way more than I have, right?
Well, this will be my fourth time as well. I've just on a little different track than Levi.
19.
Yeah, 2019 was my first year, and really, when I think about it, I mean, I had a group, but it was still kind of like a solo endeavor, because in some ways, like, there would be sets where I, like, for instance, nobody wanted to get close for Childish Gambino, and that was one of the main sole reasons I wanted to go that year.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be close for Childish Gambino, so I like roughed it out in like a dense part of the crowd, like center of the what stage field. You know, there was parts where I was by myself, and I just made friends, and everybody's just so welcoming and wholesome. And you know, some people you end up seeing years later. Like I've run into people who are like, "Hey, we're," you know, at Shaky Knees, for instance, or like maybe at a show in Nashville or Atlanta. They're like,
"Yeah,
didn't I see you in the pit at this set at Bonnaroo?" I'm like, maybe I was there, but I don't know. But yeah, 2019, I wanted to go in 2022. Just, I don't know. I wasn't feeling it for a moment, but then 2023 came around and I was like, I got to go back. Levi convinced me. 2024, I was like, I'm going back. And then this year, believe it or not, for a moment, I was like, I need to take a year off of music festivals. I need to hang tight. I need to like save up some money. And then
then this year happened.
Lo and behold, everybody puts me in a group chat before the lineup drops, and they're like, everybody's like, I already got mine. True pre-sale. So I they talked me into it. I was like, I don't know, guys. And then everybody was like, yo, you're going.
I did wait till lineup.
They strong-armed you. They strong-armed you into it.
Well,
they're like, you can't go.
Some of these rumors, some of the rumors for this bill and this lineup were like already like concrete somehow in like November. Like everybody's like, King Gizzard residency is happening. Tyler the Creator is headlining. I don't know. They are going to have like, I don't know. It was just like a bunch of like rumors that like held weight to some extent online that people were making like good cases for. They're like, hey, this guy's tour dates, they line up perfectly with the Bonnaroo schedule, or they fall right where he can make it. Yeah. See, like for instance, Tyler the Creator's dropped his album Chromacopia in November, and then he dropped a tour schedule after that, and there was a complete break in the month of June.
Yep.
Before he goes overseas or something like that, or the second leg of the tour. And everybody was like, that's more than likely. And he already owes Rue a visit anyways, because he was supposed to be there in 2021.
Yep.
So, I don't know.
It's very interesting how this lineup really came together and how it kind of stands out amongst like the other lineups as well, other than like what was the one in New York City? I'm forgetting the name of it.
Govball.
Govball had a very similar headliners, at least. They like were exact. Like it was kind of like, well,
we got Bonnaroo.
Like Bonnaroo, it seemed like they had the golden ticket to announce first, and then it was like, okay, Govball got the okay to announce like, okay, we have the same lineup, but it's almost like Vans Warped Tour, like it's some of the same bands that are playing at each stop, but they're just going to be in New York City minus like a lot of the smaller bands,
You don't camp. It's
a City Fest, and
there's no camping either.
City Fest are always a little bit more expensive in some ways. I mean, like don't get me wrong, Bonnaroo is a commitment, and you have to prepare for it and have supplies, XYZ. But a City Fest, you have to get an Airbnb or a hotel, and you're still going to spend you're still going to have to spend like triple digits, maybe four digits for just accommodations to stay. Granted, Rue did go up on some pricing this time around, but
understandably, I mean,
if it's for a quality product, I mean, that's fine.
And I full-heartedly
quality
believe
experience
that they've put a lot of different investments and stuff and made a lot of changes, especially this year, because they have the new Infinity stage, which is very exciting. And I think it's very interesting, the logistics as well, that they move the other stage into Outeroo, and how that's going to like conflict. Like, I feel...
You mean the Who?
The Who. I'm sorry. I always confuse those two names. So
they're the most confusingly named stages, all of them.
Yeah. So I'm sorry.
One gripe with Bonnaroo.
Yeah. I think that's kind of part of the fun, though, is to be like, is it this tent or that tent or the other or the what? Like, like, where are we? We don't,
Once you're a vet, you get used to it, but like...
Maybe you, Mike.
Well, there are moments where, like, my first Bonnaroo, for instance, everybody's like, let's go to the Super Jam. And we walk to the completely wrong tent, and it's like girl talk, putting on a DJ jockey set.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that looks trippy, but I don't think that's the Super Jam.
Nope.
And come to find out, we were on the opposite side of where it was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it still can very much be confusing, but, you just got to, I don't know.
I remember
just figure it out.
In Alex G's set in 2023, he just walks on before playing a note. He just kind of looks at the crowd and is like, "This festival's made to confuse people like me with this stage." And he kind of hinted that he went to the wrong tent. He was in the far tent. I think it's that.
That
tent?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think he put a pun in there when you just said that. That's funny. So he was saying that he was at the, I was at this tent, not that tent. Or,
no, he played at this tent, I think. Yeah, but
maybe he went to that tent, and that's what he was saying. He's like, yeah, I went to that tent, but I'm at this tent.
It's to confuse people like me.
Yeah.
I felt seen.
That's funny that it confuses not only the patrons who are going and stuff, but also the artists who are performing too. So
yeah,
but that's why they have like those logistics teams who are actively carting those artists around and making sure they get to the right place at the right time and stuff. But, you know, like what we were saying, to circle back, the Who stage, not the other stage, the Who stage has been relocated into Outeroo. And I find that very interesting. And it really makes me wonder how many people are actually going to make the trek to go to that stage. I don't really know logistically, like when I look at the map, how far away that is from Centeroo. But to me, when I look at it, it looks a little bit of a ways. Like it's definitely a walk.
It can be. I know exactly where it's going to be at.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of campgrounds around that and past it. So
Yes.
people will be walking by it.
The
There's
vicinity
also,
of it.
it's going to be right by this grove where people also hang after hours and try and catch a nap or something like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think it will still give like proper exposure for those bands that are playing that stage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if that's what they're shooting for or aiming for.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of bands just want a gig, period. So,
yeah, and I think it's a huge gig for a lot of these artists. Some of the ones that they've announced, I think, are definitely worth your time and attention. But the issue is their time slots. They're definitely competing with like a lot of the bigger names.
Some pretty bigger names, definitely.
I feel like they, and this is armchair festival running. I've never ran a festival, but I feel like they kind of missed out an opportunity because it starts on Thursday, but so many people get there Tuesday and Wednesday. I feel like they could have at least put some on Wednesday.
They definitely could have.
I don't think they are, to my knowledge, on Wednesday at the.
Yeah, they you know, my little pod of people were rolling in on Tuesday, and there's not even a schedule for Tuesday this time around. I've just been going off of word of mouth and people posting on Reddit and other forums. This is like, hey, I'm gonna be throwing down a little DJ set in my RV on Tuesday night if anybody wants to come by. I do think there will probably be stuff going on in the woods that night.
Yeah.
I think I have heard that.
The Where in the Woods?
Yeah, Where in the Woods, which that's fine, but like I don't think it's anything that's like on brand scheduling or anything like that.
And that's been reduced recently too because it got way overcrowded. Was that last year?
Yeah, but
yeah.
They also tried to put like a DJ that everybody likes.
Yeah.
Closing it after the Fred again.
Was over.
Yeah, so it was like EDM headliner closing the fest, and to arguably like a little bit more known in a way. I mean, in some ways, out in the woods, and like we were gonna go there, me and some friends, and they're like, we got a notification on the phone that says, "Hey, fire marshal said it's at capacity. You can't. Nobody else can come in."
Because even when didn't Zed's Dead didn't we see Zed's Dead in the woods after they?
Yeah, that wasn't even near as packed either. They were also playing till from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. and this Alice in Wonderland after the headliner last year, she was starting at 11 or something like that. So more people were awake, but as the night goes on, people just can't hang. Which to their point, you're walking 10 plus miles a day. You're out in the hot sun. We're getting older. You can't just easily, go till 5 a.m. not unless you have some enhancers.
Yeah, I'll tap out at about 3. I can see the last Centeroo set, but
yeah, I was really hoping out of all the schedules and stuff, especially because of King Giz having a residency, they would do a sunrise set. I really was wanting that. And but there's something I've noticed recently. They're on tour right now in Europe, and they've been doing a lot of afters. They're doing
they have
some random afters. So I feel like they may do some type of random pop-up at Bonnaroo.
Absolutely.
Because I think there's a pretty decent gap.
Yeah. I don't know what day that was. I think it's Friday or Saturday is their really late night, right?
Saturday night, yeah.
Yeah. Let me switch to Saturday. There we go. So we got Saturday there, and King Giz ends at 2:15. So there's definitely room for them to do some type of sunrise, possibly, but I don't know where that would be if they were to do it.
Friday, if I'm not mistaken, there looked like there was a little gap because it says that Gorgon City going on to 5 a.m., but it looks like things wrap up at 3 on Friday, and so I feel like there's a bit of there is no sunrise set on Friday, to my knowledge, because the sun doesn't or the sun doesn't rise at 3 a.m. So that might be.
They could very well. I mean, I don't know what the schedule is like out in the woods.
This is their Friday set right here. They're playing till 9, 7 till 9, and then Saturday they play late. They play.
I think Friday might be if they're gonna do it at all, because there is a sunrise set on. I don't know who Gorgon City is, but
I think they're a DJ duo.
Yeah, Gorgon City's a DJ duo. But they're on Saturday. They're playing till 2:15, so they'll definitely maybe do something, but I don't know. But that's just me speculating. I would like for them to do some type of sunrise thing. It's very on brand for Bonnaroo, at least. I remember when I was there in 2018 and I saw, like, I know he's no longer like accepted in the EDM community and stuff, but it was Space Jesus or something. He's been like canceled and stuff, but he did like a sunrise set, and I
think he has. I don't know.
It was wild. It was definitely crazy.
Yeah, sunrises really are cool fun.
Moment. Yeah, I feel like Gorgon City will probably do it justice. The sunrise set.
Yeah, they don't just put anybody there. It's always like, I hear the Pretty Light sunrise set last year. Like, he went well past into like 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m., even though he's only scheduled till 5.
Yeah.
And then he came down afterwards and like met people at the rail and stuff like that. And I saw a video of it the other day, like a clip on like Reels or something. Like somebody posted it, and it's just like, throwback to this. And I was like, wow, that's pretty. That's really pretty. And Bonnaroo does have some really pretty sunrises. I've seen a handful now, and one time though, it was eerie. It was like in 2023, and there was a bunch of morning fog, and it like,
I remember that.
I'm just walking around, and like my friend's running a merch stand that goes 24 hours, and I go talk to her, and she's just showing me YouTube like brain rot videos at 6 a.m. and I'm like,
because that's the thing you do for being up all night.
And I'm like, well, that's nice. I think I'm gonna go lay down and go to sleep now.
Yeah, I'd caught that STS9 sunrise set.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that was the same day, unless it was fog on a different day, because I was walking back to our camp, and it was Silent Hilly almost.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's super cool.
I'm just excited for, like, all the late nights in general. There's a lot to pick from, a lot to choose from.
Yeah.
Conflicts galore.
Oh, yeah. Especially for Saturday for you. I know that you said Justice and King Giz are like the two biggest conflicts.
Yeah, but I mean, even like Friday nights is pretty like all over the place. Like, how do you... I've seen Glass Animals before. It's been about 4 years since I've seen them. I didn't really care too much for their last album, but I do know they always put on a good show.
Yeah, they dropped their album when you were visiting me, and we listened to it on the car ride over to the beach. You remember that?
And I was like, this isn't good. And here's the thing, I've revisited it too, and I'm like, yeah, this is still not grabbing me. There's a couple tracks that I'm like, this is okay, but like, yeah, it just felt like an extension of like their previous album, like Dreamland or whatever.
Yeah. Dreamland 2.
JPEG Mafia is amazing. Levi's seen him like 20 times or something.
We saw him together.
Yeah, Scaring the Hose. Yeah,
Yep.
We saw him on the Scaring the Hose tour. He puts on a crazy set.
I love JPEG.
Of the Trees has crazy sounds, and he's huge now. I saw him at Oki a few years ago, and he's played the smallest stage there.
Nice. You saw him on his way up.
And then Megadeth, I don't know anything about Megadeth, but I know it's going to have a crazy pit, and I'll probably like go witness that.
I bet the last time Megadeth was at the Bonnaroo farm was at the festival that I went to.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Exit 111.
Yeah.
Yep. That was the last time that they were at the farm.
Megadeth.
So it's cool that they're returning.
Megadeth is probably... Saturday's a harder conflict for me. I'd like to go... Not to bring down the podcast. I had a buddy who passed away, and we were supposed to go see Megadeth, and we obviously couldn't, so that was a pretty easy choice for me. As much as I'd love to see JPEG Mafia of the Trees, I want to go see Megadeth. The big one for me is Justice and Arcade Fire.
Yeah, Justice and Arcade Fire, yeah. I feel like
then
Arcade
King
Fire
Giz thrown in that
too. Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw that. It was awesome.
I would like to see Justice, because Justice is going to put on a crazy show. The light show is going to be crazy. The dance is going to be very dancey.
Yep. They're the closest. They're the closest thing to having Daft Punk on the farm.
I would agree.
They're like the knockoff version of Daft Punk, but in a good way. Like they're just as good, in my opinion.
It is kind of funny that right as Daft Punk announces their hiatus, Justice's comeback album starts coming up on festivals. They definitely seized that opportunity.
It also helped that they collabed with Kevin Parker.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of those songs that Kevin had. Yeah, so a lot of that entire album is just awesome. And it's great production, and like they're like, who should we get to like make it pop, give it that extra like
didn't
pizzazz.
They have Thundercat help on one of the tracks too? I think
possibly. I'm not sure. I do believe so.
No More Lies with him, and
that's
I love that track. I listened to that track earlier today. I love that track. Yeah. Yo, I have that too.
Yeah,
yes, the 7-inch.
Yeah,
I love that.
Thundercat was on the farm last year, and he was awesome. He was conflicted with like a bunch of different people. I think it was like T-Pain.
The Mars Volta.
Yeah, T-Pain. We were calling him, me, Levi, and his girlfriend Christina. We were all sitting there, and Levi was just like, "I'm excited to see T-Pain with you." I'm like, "Yeah," and he's like, "But we should go check out the Mars Volta." And I'm like, "Okay." We were just going all over the place, scatterbrained.
Yeah. But, you know, if you really think about it in the grand scheme of things, what other festival would have that type of, like, clash, you know?
Yeah,
there's
no
such thing.
Like, there's always...
Maybe Coachella,
I feel like every year I've been, there's always some type of, like, crazy late-night conflict.
Yeah.
Well, really and truly, there's conflicts up and down the whole thing, really. But you got to make sacrifices where you can. You got to be like, okay, well, I'll probably get another opportunity to see this artist down the road. But this artist... Yeah. They don't come around a lot. I don't know. You got to weigh your options, I suppose. But
I think they do it on purpose too. I was reading some. I don't know how true.
Crowd control.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's mainly because of crowd control. Obviously, there's certain types of fans that are really dedicated to a certain genre and will always go and gravitate towards that genre every time. But, you know, there are the exceptional few that will go to other genres because maybe they've seen that artist before and they want to go see something different, you know? So there's still on the off chance that one might have a little bit more people than another, you know? So, but at the end of the day, it is crowd control. And I can vouch for that 100% because when I went to the 2018 Bonnaroo, what's their name? Brockhampton canceled last minute.
Yeah.
Everybody thought that they were still going to show. And there was like a small crowd that gathered there at the tent, like waiting to see if they would come out. And security was like, they're not here. They're not coming. And literally the only other artist playing at that time, it was a really busy time slot too. It was, who was it? I think, you know, this guy's been canceled now too, but it was Bass Nectar. Bass Nectar, he was playing at that time. And he literally had the largest crowd of the entire festival. And that was only because Brockhampton was canceled. And I was like, damn, this is insane.
Yeah. Brockhampton ended up playing my first Bonnaroo.
Yeah, the next year they were invited back and they played. So I was very upset because I really wanted to see them. And I don't even think that they're together anymore, right?
They're broken up. They're all doing their own solo stuff. They're trying to be Odd Future. I'm very opinionated on that. I don't want to speak on that.
All right.
Isn't Matt Champion? He was in Brockhampton, right?
Who?
Matt Champion.
Yeah. Matt Champion's playing on Thursday, I think. No, Friday. He's playing Friday right there. I'll be going from Ginger Root. Ginger Root to Matt Champion, and then I'm probably gonna go get a spot for Mannequin Pussy.
Please do.
Yeah,
that's gonna be.
That's going to be fun mosh pit.
Yeah, I'm thinking Ginger Root definitely, and then Christina, my girlfriend, wants to go see Allie and AJ, and I'll probably meet you over there for Mannequin Pussy.
Are we going to have to bleep out pussy?
No.
Yeah, I mean, you never know.
No. It's a cat. It's a putty cat.
Okay, it's a putty cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, Mike, I think every time that we do one of these pods, you always say like, "Do we need to bleep that out?" And I'm like, no.
It's like Levi. Every time he was on Panda's podcast, he'd be like, "Can I say fuck on your podcast?"
It's like his trademark.
like,
I do remember that when he went, speaking of the devil, he was supposed to be here on this too, but he couldn't be here. So
what he didn't die, but we miss you.
He asked us to say something. What was it? Frank Ocean eats ass or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
there you go.
He's a butt pirate.
Yeah, there you go. Yes. He's a butt pirate. Close enough. I remember something. It involved.
I'm a butt pirate too, honestly.
Plundering the booty, huh?
Plunder the booty. Yeah.
Sick.
There's, I don't know, every day is stacked.
Yes, every day is stacked. But I wanted to wrap up the segment of talking about the differences and stuff between other Bonnaroos to this one. So, we have, what's it called? The Infinity Stage is new. That's being ushered in. I think that's going to be a cool experience. Definitely don't miss, what's his name? Saxsquatch. Saxsquatch is going to be taking over. He's going to be an absolute party. Gotta love and shout out my guy Saxsquatch. He was awesome at Riot Fest last year. Me and Alex were there for that in the rain. It was a lot of fun.
They did him dirty putting him with Olivia Rodrigo, but closer for us, I guess.
No. That gives me even more of a reason to go, I feel. Like, I would probably, stay and be like, oh, okay, I only have Olivia Rodrigo because somebody else is playing that I don't care to see. And it's like, no, I have Saxsquatch playing at the Infinity Stage. That sounds so much cooler than Olivia Rodrigo. I mean, no offense to
teenage
people
girls
who enjoy teenage girls.
Yeah.
What's that, Levi? Teenage girls?
I was saying, sorry, teenage girls. I know Olivia Rodrigo and the Crispy Reviews podcast have a lot of fan crossover.
Definitely not, but maybe.
We don't want to piss off the stands. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I would say one difference that I see with this lineup compared to last ones and other Bonnaroos is, and then maybe even more so like last year as well, is I wouldn't say legacy headliners across the board for festivals are going to be phased out. And I know Bonnaroo is known for having at least one legacy headliner or one legacy name. I would say that the term for legacy is kind of changing landscape.
Yeah.
And they are ushering in newer names.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, somebody that started making music 15 to 20 years ago could be deemed a legacy act in some standard or, grand scheme of things. I would say, like, for instance, Queen of the Stone Age have been making music for 25 plus years or something like that.
Yeah,
for a while.
So Modest Mouse, Megadeth.
Modest Mouse,
Sunday, right? Sunday is stacked. I forgot how awesome Sunday is.
Modest Mouse is Saturday.
Like, there's definitely legacy names sprinkled throughout. It's just the term, when people think legacy, they think Paul McCartney, Elton John, AC/DC,
so,
Dead and Co.
I like to say this to what you're trying to say, Mike, is the gravity of a legacy, right? So think of it like this. Maybe a 10-year-old legacy act might have the gravity of, like, say, our moon, like, it's very weak. It's like a weak magnetic pull. But somebody like Elton John or like Paul McCartney, that's going to be like, the sun or Jupiter. Jupiter is like the heaviest gravity there is, it just grabs you right in and sucks you into the core, So, like, legacy is a word, it's a word to describe, like, the planets, but each planet has different gravity, right? So that's kind of how I kind of look at the word legacy now, because you're right. Like, each of them have different pulls. And I would argue that like Insane Clown Posse is a legacy act, and they're going to be there and they're going to have their own kind of flair on Thursday. And that's going to be really cool. It's going to be a moment in history where Bonnaroo has the gathering of the Juggalos, and I think that's crazy.
I'm so excited
with Luke Combs happening at the same time. Like, that's it's so strange. Like, that's the craziest. Like, I don't even know how to write that into anything right now. Like, how to make that. You're comparing literally apples to oranges to Spaceballs or something. I don't even know. Like, it's insane. And it makes me jazzed. But then, there's other acts like Vampire Weekend. Like, would you consider them to be legacy, or Arcade Fire even? Because, they've had huge moments in the past in the late 2000s.
I mean, you could say Tyler is a legacy artist in some regards.
Yeah.
I mean, rap is such a new genre that our legacy artists aren't as old. But
people do forget he was making music 16 years ago. But
So arguably there are legacy acts that are literally littered all over this, and I think it's just us having to bite the bullet and realize, like, hey, you know, these artists that we used to consider legacy acts, they're old. They're moving on.
Yeah, or
they're doing
they're
big shows, or
quite literally dying.
Or dying.
Yeah.
So it is a tough pill to kind of swallow and realize and say, like, hey, like those artists that we grew up with that were monumental and stuff, they're, you know, a bygone era that we at least got to witness in a history of time, but it's not something that's sustainable. It's not something that's going to continue forever, unless it's like Kiss, who like embody themselves into CGI characters who appear and they're like, yeah, we're Kiss forever.
I'm
Fuck
good.
Gene Simmons. I don't
good.
care.
Yeah.
I'm just using them as an example because
Yeah,
that's
I
how
know.
they like presented themselves, right? Who knows who else is going to do that bullshit, but I don't care, right?
Me. There's going to be CG Levi.
Hey,
people are going to be like, what is this? Don't disrespect our president like that.
Don't disrespect the Levi hologram.
Mr. President. Yes. Wait, aren't you? I thought you were the stair inspector now.
But hey, let's not blow up. There's a lot of people at like Big Ramp and Big Elevator are both after me. We're
leaving it at that. We'll take it. We'll leave it to the courts. That's funny, but yeah, we're looking at the time. Hold on. Okay, so 15-minute warning. So we'll go ahead and start talking about wrap ups and stuff. I know we were trying to wrap up, all the new things that they started talking about. With the Infinity stage, the Who stage, not the other. The Who stage has moved into Outeroo, and then. What else is new? Is there anything else that's new that's happening that's different?
They took our merch away. They took our swag bag away.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they you're paying more money and you don't get any cool swag anymore. That's sad.
Not even a bandana. That's cheap. That's cheap.
There we go. Big thumbs down. Doesn't
I'm kidding.
Got the thumbs down.
Still Bonnaroo though.
Yeah. That's my one gripe,
but they did remove the bleachers in front of the what stage.
That's great.
Huge W.
It really hindered the barrier of sound, and the sight lines and the sound, because you couldn't hear.
They tested that shit at exit 111. I can vouch for that. They had those bleachers there and they were testing it then, and I knew, I was like, they're going to be trying to put this bullshit at Bonnaroo.
Yeah,
I knew it.
I think enough people, whenever they send out the survey after the festival, I think enough people said on the survey that is like, get rid of the bleachers for Christ's sake. Like, please get rid of them.
And if I remember correctly, I don't think like every bleacher seat sold out, and it wasn't.
No.
I feel like it wasn't super viable financially either.
Yeah. It definitely wasn't like a moneymaker for them.
It takes away from the unity that field and that stage represents to me. Like, I mean, like, it sounds like I'm talking about sacred grounds, but it is.
It's the farm.
I mean, that's what Haley Williams at the 2023 Paramore set said, is just like, she's like, make sure you respect your surroundings, respect the people around you, and realize that we are together here on hallowed and sacred grounds today. Like, there's a lot of like, I know this is going to sound like a Gen Z thing. There's a lot of aura on the farm. There's a lot of aura on the farm.
Yeah. We're not aura farming.
And that stage is probably one of the best stages. It's one of the best stages.
It's definitely one of the most iconic in America, in my opinion. It's great.
It was really striking to me. I just remember watching Tool on that stage at my first Bonnaroo, because Jacole headlined the first night, and I missed it to go see Giz, but watching my favorite band headline that, it was unreal on that stage, which is awesome.
Definitely. But trying to think, what are some other things that are different? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I feel like I'm blanking now.
There's some things that are different.
I think those were like most of the big changes that kind of happened. I noticed.
Feel any differences we're not going to know until
the Infinity stage is going to have a completely, like, it is going to be like
sound.
It's going to be the first of its kind in the country, apparently. So I am interested to see what that even sounds like. It's
with
probably
Sasquatch.
Yeah, it's or there's a bunch of I think what's the name right there? Post sex nachos. I'm gonna go check that out.
Washed Out. Don't miss Washed Out.
Yeah,
that would be really cool.
I am gonna see some of Hosier though, because I saw him at my first Bonnaroo, and people want to say all they want that he's not a headliner. He's got enough hits. He's got enough hits that he is.
He is.
I'll meet you over Washed Out.
Yeah. And I was about to say, I'll definitely check out Washed Out. I've seen Washed Out a time or two before.
Especially after Queens. Queens, I'm going to be totally pooped after the last mosh pit of the entire fest pretty much.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go vibe at Washed Out and chill.
Yeah, I agree. At that point, I'll go wherever the wind takes me as well. I'm probably gonna go see LSZ because I like what they sound like. Combo. Yeah, they also have a crazy light show.
Peace, love, and wubs.
Yeah,
that's the one song from LSD, right?
That's just from LS Dream.
Oh, LS Dream.
Yeah, but
hell yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess rapid fire now, since we covered most of the things that are going to be different at Bonnaroo.
Oh yeah, hit me with
that. Was the main thing I really wanted to talk about on this episode of the podcast, because it does seem striking to me that all the changes that they made, because they're listening to fan surveys more recently, and they're those I'm blanking on their names on the top of my head, but
C3.
So the C3 people. They've Corey and I'm forgetting the
Brad?
other. Brad and Corey. They're really paying attention to those surveys. They're actually doing a lot of fan fare, just making sure that everybody's happy with this year's festivities. And I feel like they're really pulling out all the stops to make sure that you're getting your money's worth.
Oh yeah.
And Bonnaroo is definitely a leg above the rest when it comes to that. But it is competition.
I will say them taking the swag bags away for cleaner porta-johns. I better see it. My first electronic porta-john I go into, there better be a bidet in there that sprays my ass clean.
True.
The
expectation and cleanliness just went up, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't have a bandana to keep the sweat out of my eyes.
This better be French as fuck when I go in there.
Yeah. So let's move into rapid fire mode.
Fire on me.
So let's talk about artists that you are most excited for this year's event. Mikey, I want to start with you this time around.
Okay.
So just tell me, I'll switch this over real fast. Hold on, I forgot.
You're just going to go to the lineup?
Yeah, I'll switch to the lineup. I think it's here. Share this tab.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So we'll just stick to this. We're not going to say on the schedule, just artists,
I gotcha.
Shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Who are you most excited for?
I've been on a real big, female rock or female led or fem rock or anything like that, punk rock, indie rock, all that. So I'm gonna shout out some of the girly bands or whatever, the powerful woman bands. To me, we're gonna go with some Mannequin Pussy, Die Spitz, Destroy Boys. Destroy Boys. I'm excited to go see Royal Otis on Sunday. I'm going to try and get up into the pit for that.
I'll join you.
Big like.
Be
using the chat.
Yeah. I'm going to be enjoying a lot of the, some of the, I guess I wouldn't say heavier stuff, but I don't know. Hot Mulligan I've been actually listening to and I enjoy them. There's going to be conflicts in time of when that moment hits, I got to just decide. I'm still undecided on a lot of stuff. I saw Tyler a couple months ago and he was awesome. Let's see. I'm actually kind of excited to maybe check out Dogs in a Pile.
They're great.
They are great. I was really hoping I could catch them, but my kid came a little bit early. But they were playing here at the social, and I really like their sound a lot. And Levi, I think you and I talked about Dogs in a Pile a little bit whenever they were coming out. You and I had a mini conversation about it, and we were fangirling over them. They're pretty cool.
As far as some of the EDM goes, I do want to kind of try and check out the Of the Trees and Tape B duo on the Infinity stage. I think one day I think I have an open slot and I can go check out Enzo. Caleb's told me about Enzo.
Shout out Caleb.
What So Not I've been listening, not regularly, but I've listened to What's So Not Big in high school, so I might go check them out. Let's see.
You forgot
Of course,
the biggest one.
Yeah, of course, King Giz. I'm definitely going to check out at least 2 whole King Giz sets and then their last half of their late night set because I'm probably going to go see Justice. I definitely want to see Justice.
I really cannot stress enough to not miss Justice because Justice is like really cool. And because they don't really tour America often, and for them to be at Bonnaroo, like, what are the chances of that happening again? You know?
That was one of the most highly requested names last year on the survey as well.
I'm not surprised.
So
I'm definitely not surprised.
And the fact that they gave him a late night slot, I'm going to be zooming.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nice names on here. There's a good balance of everything as far as punk goes and just, your rock vibes, your indie rock vibes. Your wholesome vibes, I guess. All the vibes, I suppose.
From each genre.
Some days I'm just gonna go wherever the wind takes me. But
at the end of the day, that's kind
of what happens. You just kind of when you're there in the moment, things kind of change.
Yeah, I mean, in 2023, we were leaving Kendrick Lamar, and like I didn't know where I was going, and Levi's like, "Hey, we got to go check out Wolfpack," and I'm like,
"Hell yeah,
okay." And they had like a whole what was it? A Jewish wedding? What kind of wedding was that?
It was a Wolfpack wedding.
Molotov.
Not Molotov. Mazel tov. Yeah, not Molotov. But they did that. Now, for some reason, that was the 3rd wedding I'd witnessed that day too. Like weddings all over the place.
Shout out Riley and Danielle.
Yeah, that was a crazy time and a moment. And then even like last year, Levi and I were like wandering over to like I don't know where we were going. I think we were going to go talk to Xander and Chris's girlfriend up close for right before T-Pain. We're walking back and these guys are dressed like Wolfpack and we're like, "Are you guys Wolfpack?" And they're like, "Yeah." And like they could have been just totally fucking with us, but like
they were. We were too out of it to understand.
We were so high, we were just like, "Yeah, that was probably Wolfpack," and we walked away. And it's just like it could have been, it could have not been. I don't know. They're just maybe hanging out. But
wow, yeah. That sounds like it was a really fun experience. And Wolfpack, I really love them. They have a really awesome sound. Isn't Corey's in that group, right? I forget Corey Wong.
Yeah, he did a solo set too.
He's amazing.
That's right. What's his name? Corey Wong.
Yeah, he's amazing. Really awesome artist.
There's a lot of members in that band. Are there not?
There's
like
there's a few. It's kind of like King Giz. They got a bunch.
Rotating, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so it sounds like you summed up what you're mostly excited for, Mikey. That's super dope. Levi, my man, I'm very excited to hear who you're mostly pumped for this year's Bonnaroo. Who's drawing you in?
I mean, I've seen Modest Mouse about 30 times. They're an all-time favorite. They're a must-see.
But never on the Bonnaroo farm.
Yeah, no. Justice is really up there. Like, I just saw Arcade Fire, and I'd like to go see them again, but I don't know. I think I'm going to end up watching mostly Justice.
Fair.
Got to shout out my local boy, MJ Linderman, Asheville. He's great.
He's having a big moment.
Yeah. Vampire Weekend, I've had tickets to go see 3 times and have not gotten to see them, so that's really... They're probably my headliner for the festival.
I agree.
Queens of the Stone Age.
They're such a vibe. They're definitely one of the best live acts to see, in my opinion. I really love Vampire Weekend. Do not sleep on them. They're so good.
I'm so excited. There's a bunch. I mean, a lot of the jammier stuff, like Dogs in a Pile. The Kitchen Dwellers are really good.
I've heard good things about them.
Yeah, Daniel Danto's Cosmic Country. Thursday's really stacked this year.
Yeah, Thursday, there's also a real good shoegazy vibe. You got Wisp.
Yes.
Yeah, they're playing at the same time as Dogs in a Pile, though.
They are, aren't they? Dang, I knew I was missing something.
Same time.
I might have to split them.
Yeah, there's a bunch of, obviously Tyler. I'm trying to think here. Queens of the Stone Age, I've seen them a bunch of times. My girlfriend loves Gizzard like you guys. I'm trying to get into them, so I'll be excited to see them again. She really loves the lemon twigs too.
I would say probably check them out on Sunday if you're not as busy on that day for whatever reason. That day will probably be more of like a mellow jam kind of sesh, I feel, and I feel
I'm
like
hoping
you'll
for
get into
Sense.
that more.
I hope they play Sense.
They will.
Yeah.
They definitely will.
I plan on seeing them Friday and Saturday.
Okay. Hey, at least you're doing a double doser there. That's good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
So,
Jack's Mannequin too.
Some of the ones that you said earlier that you guys missed on, what was it? I don't see the name now. Shoot. Ginger Root.
Yeah.
Root.
Oh, they're awesome.
Definitely do not miss Ginger Root. I know that he's like at the very bottom of the list there on that Friday, but literally their set was one of my favorite sets I saw last year. All like out of all those bands, I saw like over 90 bands last year, and Ginger Root was number one. Like their set is just electric.
Thing he made?
Yes.
Awesome.
Amazing. Yeah, he's so creative. He's very talented. He's going to be blowing up, like for sure. Like after this year, I could see him just, gradually going up into larger and larger venues. Like they have such a great sound and they're very fun. They just need a song to hit on TikTok, I guess, at this point.
Yeah.
A couple songs hit.
What's crazy is every day of the festival, I'm going to be trying to get in there as soon as like music starts.
Right in the early, right?
Literally Thursday, the first band that's actually performing that I want to see is Die Spits, and they come on at 3. That's the first set of the day.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Then
what a
Ginger Root on Friday. Saturday's Destroy Boys at 1:30. And then I don't know, I'm going to be dead. And then I actually kind of want to check out Grace Bowers on Sunday, also at 1:30.
Shout out Grace Bowers too. She's great.
Yeah. She just showed up to one of the All-American Rejects house parties.
Oh, no way. That's sick.
Yeah, and I knew nothing about her, but I was like, why does that name sound so familiar? And then I realized she was on this. Yeah.
She's great. She has an amazing voice.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah. What else was I gonna say? Let's see. Who else was I gonna say that? Yeah, like you guys said, one name that you guys both didn't mention, which I'm surprised, Mikey, you didn't say, but Joey Valiance and Bray. You didn't even say them.
They're at the same time as
ICP. Okay.
And I've seen JVB twice, and they're going to be at Shaky Knees later this year. But here's the thing, though. I love JVB, and I don't know any Insane Clowns Posse songs except for the Chop Chop Slide, only because I like to do it back in like middle school. Me and my friend made an entire. I don't want to be covered.
ICP is definitely going to be the event of Bonnaroo, and it's crazy that it's right in the beginning. Like it's the kickoff part.
I just don't want to be covered in Fago, dog. I know that sounds weak of me. Yeah.
Is it water?
Or bloodless.
I never even got any of that on me either. I hung out in the back.
Yeah, me too.
True.
I think the crowd is going to be a sight. Like, I feel like if I can hang out in the back,
it's going to be.
I don't think Fago can reach that far.
Somebody said on the Facebook group, they said, have we heard, are we just not going to talk about the allegations with ICP? And then somebody was like, have you heard their lyrics? I'd be surprised if they didn't have allegations. I'm like, I'm not trying to like diminish
what they say
that or anything like that. I'm like, oh my God. Because they are just talking about murdering people in their music.
That's true.
They're like, we're going to chop their head off.
Yeah. That's just ICP for you, though. They're insane.
Yeah.
It's in the title.
They're just a clown posse.
Joey Valance and Bray, though, is going to be tempting. I might go. They come on a whole 30 minutes before ICP. I might just go over there and hang out for those first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I might come with you.
Definitely. But honestly, like, I have to say, shout out to the Bonnaroo booking team because they really knocked it out of the park with this year's lineup. It's really got pretty much everything that I could hope for a current music festival to have. Even though that, like what we were saying earlier about legacy acts and stuff, there is a lot of legacy in here. Even like I see Action Bronson's on this too. I forgot about him. Yeah. And I would consider him legacy at this point too, because he's been around for a hot minute. So it also, holy shit, we didn't even cover this. Remy's Wolf Insanely Fire 1970s Pool Party Super Jam with Hayley Williams of Paramore.
So that added a conflict to me recently because they ended up I don't know if you can pull up the lineup of who's there you go. Yeah, the fact that that's up and now I see who's playing on
with
that.
Grace Bowers.
I'm gonna have to decide on something because I would like to see Modest Mouse, but then you threw my queen Hayley Williams' name into the fold Otis right too. There. That really Otis. I'm like, what are they gonna do? Are they just gonna play 70s hits?
Elton John,
or Earth, Wind, and Fire?
Hell yeah! Speaking of geese, Cameron Winter on the Infinity Stage.
That's insane.
See, there's just a million names we could discuss. This is
I know. Because that's what I was trying to say is this is the most amazing modern music festival lineup I have ever seen. There are so many big stars all over this lineup, and it's easy to just be like, "Oh, I'm so focused on this," and then be like, "Oh wait, I forgot."
Yeah, then you're looking over something else, and they're like, "Oh wait, that's also happening." Damn it!
I feel like if I was to do it all, I would only have to be at 15 minutes at each stage. So I'd have to stand there.
But then see that also that could take away out of the experience. Because what if you get sucked in? You get sucked into the energy at one stage, and you're like, "Oops, I stayed here too long, and now I missed most of something else over here."
That was literally how my Bonnaroo experience was in 2018, and I don't regret it. I think it was that much more fun to get sucked into it and be like, "Yeah, I had that much more fun at this set because they drew me in." And I don't care that I missed whoever at the other stage, I'll catch them at the next show or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that's who made that experience that much more better for you. That's what gave you that Bonnaroo magic. So one of them for me was, what's it called? Everything. I don't know if you guys know who that is. They're an indie group from Europe. But they drew me in. They were one of the earlier bands, and there was somebody else playing at the same time I wanted to go see desperately. But I was like, I'm going to go listen to everything for a little bit. And they sucked me in, and I did not want to leave that stage. I was like, this is amazing. These guys are singing an a cappella and doing these crazy crescendos and things like that.
That's
I'm
cool.
What is this, dude? This is absolutely amazing. It took my breath away. I was like, okay, I'm an immediate fan. I don't even care that I missed this other band. It was just awesome. And then it led into Pond, which was that much more better.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah. And just like what you guys were saying, there's just no wrong choices here. You're gonna have a good time no matter what. Just stay hydrated.
Exactly.
Stay fucking hydrated.
That's my advice. Please drink water. Please don't ever stop drinking water. I went a little too long on Thursday of last year and didn't drink water or refill my water bottle for an hour, and
it was so hot too.
That caused me to get dehydrated really quick. Because I
sneak up on you.
I ended up having to go lay down, pop a couple ibuprofen, and take a 3 or 4 hour nap for that headache to go away.
Yep.
And
then you wake up with FOMO and you're like, shit.
Yeah, I woke up with FOMO because I missed 3 or 4 sets that I really wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
And it is what it is. It happens. I had to get the headache to go away to keep partying and having fun, but I just didn't properly drink enough water or hydrate for that day. That's the only time that's happened out of the 3 Roos I've been to.
Yeah.
It is so crucial, vitamins, water, vitamin C, sunscreen, wear clothes for comfort. It's okay to, rock whatever fit, but, just, shoes. I don't know. Yeah. I'm giving all types of advice now.
No, it's good.
But
good. I'm saying rapid fire. Give it all. I like it. Yeah.
If you're camping, canopies and for breezy access to wind, but don't put up too many tarp walls or solid walls. Have tapestries or flags or even bed sheets
flow
to let the air flow so you're not dying.
Yeah, we're not even doing a tent this year. We're just going straight.
Same. I was about to say I got a cot and I got a canopy. And I'm not getting in a tent this year. I cooked last year, and I even had plenty of shade cover, but I was cooking by midday. I try not to stay in there too long either. I like to, even if I am getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I just will myself to sleep. I wake up, it's hot, and I'm like, no, I'm just going back to sleep.
Yeah.
You're like, I will go to sleep. I will go to sleep. I will go to sleep.
That's exactly what it is.
One thing I do think that's going to happen this year is humidity is going to be a lot because there's been a lot of rain in the South, all the way from Nashville. I'm here in Birmingham, Greenville over in South Carolina has probably been getting a lot of rain. Like it rained. It's been raining most of today. It's been raining a whole lot this month.
Yeah.
It's going to be hot to soak up moisture. And I meant to do this last year and I didn't, is get these moisture bags you can hang up in your canopy. And it
helps so much.
Soaks up all the moisture in the canopy so there's not dripping all over the canopy and drops pretty much.
Yeah, we put one in our tent. It helped a lot.
Dang, these are some hacks. That sounds like a cool hack, actually. I never heard of that before.
Moisture bags, yes.
It's funny because I got one and you were the one who told me to get one, and I thought you had one too.
I didn't. I was like, you're like, can I get you anything? And I was like, if they have this, I forgot to get this, but Walmart sometimes doesn't have them, and you have to order them.
Yeah.
Good. Levi, is there anything else that you would add to that list?
I don't know, food that you could eat very quickly and like that's not a lot because it's gonna be hot enough that you don't want to eat.
Oh yeah,
correct.
And a lot of times,
I forget to eat. I actually made a bunch of just peanut butter sandwiches. I made like peanut butter sandwiches that were. I didn't do like a lot of peanut butter though because that's kind of dry and it makes you like want more water and stuff. But
correct.
So I did like a little bit of peanut butter and then I did like honey. So I did that on like some, I don't know, whole wheat bread or something like that. Yeah. And I stuffed a bunch of them in my backpack and that kept me going the entire time. And I was like, I'm good. I can just keep going.
I would say
yeah,
fruit helps as well. I normally bring oranges. My first Bonnaroo, I did nothing but peaches. I would eat a peach every day on my walk to Centeroo. What?
the band.
I like peaches.
I'm just thinking of the band called Peaches, and I'm like,
or Peach Pit was playing that year. It's a completely different vibe. But yeah, Peach Pit was playing that year. Pit.
They are a cool band.
I suppose. Yeah.
Grapes, bananas, any of those fruits, I do.
Bananas give you
as well.
Bananas,
potassium.
Sorry,
I'm like nutrition fact, and you're like boner.
Yeah, if you're gonna smash a Bonnaroo, do it on Thursday or Friday. No more after Friday. You're risking nastiness.
No,
not unless you a freak.
Juggalos, beware. Levi, how are you on time? I forgot. It's 6:13.
We're yapping.
I know.
Sorry, my computer activated Siri and shit out for a second. Sorry.
She heard me talking about
boners
doing the deed. She heard me talking about doing the deed at Roo, and she's like, "Huh?
Yeah."
Ooh, I didn't even think about this. This is a legacy act on this lineup. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place.
Circling back.
Natasha Bedingfield.
Oh, I got a pocket full of sunshine.
Like fucking Unwritten on the Farm is about to hit so hard. Like
what day are they playing?
That's on Sunday. She's on Sunday. Yeah, but that's a prime 2004 like throwback slot right there.
Oh, I see. It's 2:45.
Yeah, that's
2:45 to 3:30.
Yeah, I'm all over the place. I didn't mean to trail back. I'm sorry.
No. You're good. That's what I was saying. I was saying rapid fire. Like, what are your last?
I'm ready to go. Tuesday crew.
Woo! Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm going in longer.
Yeah.
I'm going to be roughing it out.
You got to hit the stew woo, but say roo. Roo!
I hope Giz plays Gila Monster.
They probably will. Gila! Monster!
Gila!
Yeah,
I'm excited. I'll be excited to do, like, once we get back to kind of talk about it more.
Yeah. We could do, I want to do a recap video and stuff, and you guys maybe we can get Panda in on it too, and we can do
and maybe Caleb too.
Yeah, Caleb can come as well. He came, what was it?
Last year.
Last year, yeah. So, sorry, Caleb, if you're watching this, we should have had you on here too. But
they were busy. I was checking it out. Okay. They were busy.
Yeah, more the merrier is always welcome.
We're gonna drive to their house
too. If there's anybody that you want on here too, yeah.
I'm just glad I got to be a part.
Of course.
And yeah, happy Roo. I'm excited.
Happy Roo.
Always good to talk to you guys.
Bonnaroo.
Yeah, you guys have fun for me, and I promise I will try and be there before the end of the decade. Okay.
Okay.
Please do.
Yes, 5 years. I got 5 years to figure it out. So
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Got
thank
it.
you guys so much for coming on and talking about
Always.
Bonnaroo, and I hope everybody has a happy Roo.
Happy Roo.
See you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.